Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all healthy and safe at home. We shall continue with our second module, and we are moving on to a new section on double integrals in polar coordinates. So I had asked you to revise the concept of polar coordinates, and we had dealt with the concept of double integrals in the previous section. So in this section we are going to combine both of these and try to solve the double integral with the help of polar coordinates. So why should we do this? I mean, we know how to integrate a given function using double integration. We have studied it in the previous section. Now if you see, double integrals which may be a bit difficult to evaluate in rectangular coordinates, that is with respect to x and y, okay, may seem easier to be evaluated in terms of polar coordinates. Okay, sometimes we have even I remember that many of you must have faced some difficulty in solving the integral values using the rectangular coordinates, but those few of the such difficulties can be resolved by using the expression or by using polar coordinates instead of rectangular coordinates. So for a very simple example, if we are asked we are asked to evaluate the volume of a disk of radius 2, then for us it will be difficult to calculate it or determine the value using our usual rectangular coordinates. Why? If you just recall, we'll see that so we have a disk of radius 2, then what will be the corresponding limits of x? It will be varying from -2 less than equal to x less than equal to 2. And to evaluate double integral over the region R, f of x comma y dA, what we do, we have limits of x. Now what will be the limiting value of y? It will be minus root of 4 minus x square less than equal to y less than equal to root of 4 minus x square, right? So the evaluation of this double integral will be quite a bit difficult, because it will be like integral from -2 to 2 and integral from minus root of 4 minus x square into root of 4 minus x square into whatever the value or the function that is given to us into dy dx, right? So this evaluation may seem a bit difficult, but if you consider in terms of polar coordinates, here the theta varies from 0 to 2 pi, right? So 0 less than equal to theta less than equal to 2 pi. And what will be the variation of r? R varies from nothing but less than 0 to 2. Okay, so this integral, double integral over R, f of x by dA, can be easily evaluated with the help of polar coordinates here, because the limiting conditions are much more simpler, because theta varies from 0 to 2 pi and the radius or R, it varies from 0 to 2, right? So that is why we are learning the concept of the polar coordinates, that is evaluating double integrals in polar coordinates. So let's see the concept, or let's see how it is brought into picture. Like we know while determining the integral and while determining the double integral and all, we considered the region which is given to us and we had partitioned it, right? In case of line integrals, we had partitioned it into sub intervals, and in case of our double integrals, we had partitioned it into rectangular regions and all. And here what we are doing is, if we are given the region R, if you can see the first figure, the region R is given and theta is varying from alpha to beta, okay, and we have first value, that is first polar form, that is g of theta, and we have h of theta. This is the required region which are given to us. So what we'll do is, we will consider many concentric circles here. In the first line integrals, we had considered the partition of interval. Then we had considered rectangular regions. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use concentric circles. I hope you guys remember, while dealing with the polar coordinates, we used to graph the polar coordinates in the figure, not in the normal graph paper and all. We used to do it with a graph which had concentric circles, because the angle would be much more easier to be mentioned in that. So here what we are going to do is, if you see the second figure, you can see that the region which is given to us is partitioned using many concentric circles, and we will choose a particular, as usual, we will choose a particular region Ri, and we will find the area. We'll form a point, we'll determine a point in it, that is Ri theta I, and we will find what is the area corresponding to that and all. And finally, if you see in the last figure, the change that is happening is when we convert a given double integral in terms of which is in terms of rectangular coordinates to polar coordinates, we will change x, y and dA and all. So x and y will correspondingly be changed or transformed to r cos theta and r sin theta respectively, as we have done with polar coordinates. And what we must keep in mind is that the dA that is given in the double integral, that is double integral over r f of x y dA, dA will be replaced by, usually in rectangular coordinates we replace it by dx dy, but remember in polar coordinates we have to do it dA will be equal to r into d theta into dr. Okay, most of the time we tend to forget this r, just keeping in mind that dA is dx dy, so dA in polar coordinates should be dr d theta. It's not right. dA is r into d theta dr. That is because if we consider, this is a more zoomed out portion, that is if you are considering this particular region Ri or Rj, the portion, then delta A will be, this distance will be the difference in delta R, and this is R1, and this will be R2. So this difference is delta R, and this difference or this length that we get will be R into variation in theta. Okay, so that will be R into delta theta. So dA will be replaced by R into d theta dr. So that's how our geometric interpretation of the polar coordinates, double integral in polar coordinates, comes out to be. So we'll consider the region given to us, we'll partition it into in terms of concentric circles, and we'll take a particular portion and we will make the corresponding amendments. So if you see, we are given double integral over r f of x y dA. This can be replaced by x and y will be replaced by r and theta. That is, remember, if you are given a function in terms of x and y, that has to be changed in terms of r and theta. So that doesn't mean that you have to put x is equal to r and y is theta. It is x is r cos theta and y is r sin theta. And next we will change dA. dA will be nothing but r into dr into d theta. That is, don't forget the term r that I have explained before, and which is this is further equal to the angle, whatever theta varies from alpha to beta, and r varies from g1 of theta to g2 of theta. Those are the polar curves, into f of r theta dr d theta. Now, as we have done in rectangular coordinates, we can change the variables also. Integration can be done accordingly. That will be integral from, instead of alpha to beta, it will be the variation of r. Here integral it to be alpha to beta is the variation of theta. So correspondingly you can form the different variation of r, first r in the end, and first we will vary theta and so on. So this is how a rectangular coordinate system, a double integral in rectangular coordinates, can be transformed to double integral in polar coordinates. So as I have mentioned in the beginning of this lecture, that it is some problems or some regions may be easily evaluated. The volumes of those region, the areas of those region can be easily evaluated in terms of polar coordinates. So we shall do a few examples which will make us the concept more clear. So that's it for today's session. Thank you. Stay home and stay safe.